Welcome to Razzball Radio for Thursday, July 24th, here on the Fantasy Sports Network and, of course, Cablevision. I am your host, Nick Capozzi, and it's Thursday, so I'm joined by the guy who jams and crams with us, The Guru. You can follow him on Twitter at TheGuruGS. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Well, let's rock it, man. You know, it's a week from today, I think. You and I are going to be hooking up in the Emerald City as we get ready to kick off our 32 and 32 and 32 Razzball Tour.
That's right. We're going to be talking baseball today, but of course the Razzball Tour kicks off on August the 4th in Seattle, so I leave from Phoenix here in a week, drive up, and I don't know if you noticed this, Guru, but I gave us a couple of days of R&R in Seattle. Seattle, I don't know why. So we'll have a couple days to relax, a little recreation maybe in Seattle. Really, it's because I want to eat salmon. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well planned, sir.
All right, if you want any information, you can check it out at razzballtour.com. Guru, I want to talk about some of the impacts that the trades have had in the last couple of weeks. A lot of bullpen stuff going on. Let's start with what happened yesterday. First, Joakim Soria gets shipped to Detroit. Now, the word in Detroit was that he would be the setup guy. I'm not buying that. I think as of today, Joe Nathan's going to be selling hot dogs in the stands. What's your take on that situation? Because Soria's pitched well, 42 Ks, 33 and a third, 2.7 ERA, and a whip below 1.
I tell you, I really like this time of year in the baseball season when the trade winds are blowing hard, teams are making calls, and players are changing uniforms all over the place. I think it's a great move for Detroit. I mean, Joe Nathan, he's a little past his prime, I'd say.
A little.
And Soria is having a great year. There are rumors that Jonathan Papelbon might be the guy that ends up in Detroit, but no, it's Mr. Soria that ends up in the Motor City. And I think it's a great fit. He might eventually end up with that closer job, pick up, who knows, maybe 15 saves the rest of the way. And of course the trade, opens up a door for Neftali Feliz there in Arlington.
Yeah, okay, let's transition right into that. Feliz hasn't pitched a lot. Obviously, he's coming back from an injury, but he does have a 2.61 ERA in 10 innings. Too small of a sample size to really judge that. Feliz is available in a lot of leagues. Is he the guy who's going to close in Arlington?
If I was going to grab somebody from the Rangers, and who knows how many saves, they're going to end up with, the rest of the way that team's so bad. But with Soria off to Detroit, I would say that Feliz will be the guy that's going to get the first shot at it. Neil Kotz and Steve Tolson, they might get a chance. But I think Feliz is the arm that I'd grab for now. He's had success as a closer in the past. I mean, he had 72 saves from 2010 to 2011, but it's been injuries ever since, and he's played just 21 games the last 3 years. But if you're Sagnoff starved, saves and steals ain't got no face, Feliz is the arm you want.
Absolutely. Now, the Detroit bullpen has been terrible for a long time, and it's also a little incestuous because now Joaquin Benoit is getting the opportunity in San Diego. He's been lights out this year. Great season, 47 Ks in 40 and two-thirds, 1.99 ERA, and a whip again below 1. He hasn't had much success closing in the past, though, so that's the only concern. He's going to get the opportunity because the Padres are not very good. He's pitching in Petco, so that's a bonus. But is he going to be able to maintain that job? Not just this year, but do you project him being the closer there next year?
I would be surprised. As I said, the trade rumors are heating up. I wouldn't be completely surprised if the Padres flipped Benoit to another contender that needs some bullpen help. But he's got closing experience. He had about 24 saves, I think, last year for the Tigers. And if the Sagnoff search continues, with Houston Street traveling up I-5 to Anaheim, Benoit is the guy to jump on the closer carousel. The ownership is I think it's about 64% in ESPN leagues. He has the experience closing games. The numbers look good this year, 47 Ks, 40 innings, 3 wins, the ERA under 2, the whip under 1. But the problem is, how many save chances is he going to get the rest of the way? 10, 12,
right.
15 at the most. And like I said, the rumors are still out there that the Padres might trade him to a contender. But, if you're chasing saves, you can't be picky. So get what you can when it comes to Benoit. It's a jam.
Okay, good stuff. Where do you think he winds up? Just throwing it out there.
That's a good question. I think it will probably be somewhere in the American League. I think the Orioles might be a pretty good fit for him.
Yeah, it looks like Britton might be the guy right now in Baltimore, but that could be an interesting scenario. Another guy who probably will get moved, of course, there's a lot of salary attached to it, so it depends on what the Phillies are willing to do. But Jonathan Papelbon could likely see the door in Philadelphia. I had Mike Cardano of Roto Experts in the Fantasy Sports Network on last week. He thinks LA is the destination. You think that's where he's going to wind up?
I'd be surprised if Papelbon ended up in Los Angeles. I guess it could happen. Uh, it'll be interesting to see what goes on with the Phillies. I think it's time to completely blow up that team if they're able to do it. Papelbon to the Dodgers, that would be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, it's about time they blow it up in Philadelphia. I mean, yesterday Ryan Sandberg announced that he's going to platoon Ryan Howard with Darren Ruff. That just sounds like they're trying to make announcements for the sake of making announcements, try and not let the rest of the league realize how terrible they are, but they are bad. Man, did they let that rot. They should have moved those guys out of there a long time ago. There was so much dead salary on that roster, so many aging veterans, and not a lot of guys coming through the system. It is going to be a few rough years in the city of brotherly love. By the way, we're going to the city of brotherly love on the Razzball 32 and 32 and 32 tour. Okay, I want to get to a lot more stuff. We're going to talk about the Chase Headley trade. We're going to talk about Kevin Kiermaier, and we're going to talk about some prospects coming up who are going to have some opportunities with these trades happening. We'll talk about all that and, of course, some more stuff here. Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network. Welcome back to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm Nick Capozzi, joined by the Guru. We've done some jamming and crabbing, but what we're really doing today is talking about some of the trades that have got down and some opportunities that are going to develop. Chase Headley goes to New York. A lot of up and down on this. I thought it was a great trade. Gray, not so much. It was a good trade for the Yankees, but in terms of Headley's impact since the trade, he went 1 for 4 and 1 for 2 in the 2 games, but he's hitting in the number 6 spot. Obviously, I think there'd be more impact if he was hitting a bit higher. Only 40% owned. How do you see this shaking out?
I think it's a good trade for Headley. I think getting out of Petco and getting out of San Diego is a really good thing for him. I mean, he had that big year. He had 31 homers and like 115, 120 RBI and 17 steals a couple years back. We did warn you last year about drafting Headley, before last season when he was coming off that big year. He hasn't been half the player since, but I think a change of scenery is just what Headley needs. And I think Yankee Stadium is a good spot for him. He's in a better lineup. He's in a better park. The problem will be adjusting to new pitchers, a new league, all of that stuff that kind of goes along with that sort of trade from the National League to the American League. Now, I'm not a big Headley fan. Of course, I'm not a Yankees fan. And he's hitting about 229 this year, 7 homers, 30-something RBIs. He's been banged up. He's had a back injury, arm, leg. But the change of scenery might be just what he needs. If you're in a deep league, if you're in an AL-only league, I could see it being a jam. But right now, everybody else, I'd say let's take a wait and see with Headley. It's a cram.
Okay, interesting. So, you know what? I looked at the Yankees lineup today, and yes, it's old. Yes, it's creaky, but it's still, when it's healthy, a pretty darn good lineup. I think, you know what? I'm buying Headley, especially with that kind of ownership. I think he could be one of those guys, again, change the scenery. When he came off the big year 2 years ago, look, he had 31 home runs, 115 RBI. I was kind of expecting maybe 20 homers and 80 RBI in Petco last year. Of course, he got injured. So I don't think it's crazy to think, on a full season pace, we could be looking at a 25 homer, 90 RBI guy at third base, and third base is lean. So, you know what? I know everyone is against me on this one, but I'm actually stumping for Headley right now. I'd be happy to have him on my team. I think there's definitely some upside there. Okay, here's a guy that I'm not really sure why everyone's kind of buzzy about. It's Kevin Kiermaier. A lot of talk. He was a hot schmatato a couple weeks ago, put together a little hitting streak there. What's the story with him?
Kiermaier is interesting. He's been a nice surprise there in Tampa. This is a guy that's was known in the minors for his glove, not for his bat, and he's been a great addition to that Rays lineup, and a nice addition to my DFS lineups too. I mean,
right.
he's really cheap. So he's had about 160 at bats. He's got 8 homers, 24 RBI, a couple steals hitting 315. When it comes to Kiermaier, I kind of think of him as kind of a platoony tune. He really crushes right-handed pitchers. His OPS versus righties is over 1,000. You know, I love the WOBA. His weighted on base average against right-handers is about 441. That's nice. But you know, with Kiermaier, it's kind of a I'm going to give you kind of a bizarro world alert here.
Okay, I'm ready.
In 433 minor league games, he hit just 15 homers.
Okay.
Now, he has more than half that in less than 50 major league games. So that's a little weird. He's about 10% owned in Yahoo, 25% at ESPN. And I heard some talking heads the other day mentioned Kiermaier as a possible Rookie of the Year candidate, and I nearly choked on my mojito on that one.
You know what? But here's the thing. As we sit, it is the 24th of July. He's only hitting 281 with 1 home run and 1 steal this month. I think we're talking about this guy too much, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the sample size is really small too. But I mean, his ISO is 272. His WRC plus is 160. Those are the kind of numbers that stand out to me. I mean, those numbers are better than Nelson Cruz, Giancarlo Stanton, and Jose Bautista. Now, I don't have the turban on too tight today, but there's no way old Kev is in that class of slugger or, in my opinion, a Rookie of the Year candidate. We've got Will Myers coming back, and you never know what Joe Madden's going to do when he sets his lineups. Kiermaier, he could end up being a guy that gets flipped to a team as he's hot right now. We'll see what happens, but I'm not a believer. He's a cram.
Okay, we're going to get to those prospects in just a second, but before we do, I just want to throw this out at you. So, of course, we're hitting off on this tour. It's all 32 pro football cities, so obviously you know where we're going. I don't have to break it down for you. But what are a couple of cities that you're really excited to go to? I mean, we're in there for a short period of time, but still we're going to try and soak it all up, draft with you guys. We're really excited to have a couple of beers. What's kind of your top city that you're most looking forward to on this tour?
Wow, that's a good question. I've been to a number of those cities and worked in quite a few of them too. I think I'm excited to see St. Louis. I've never been to St. Louis. That's a city I'd really like to check out.
Great city. We'll be at the Post Sports Bar in Maplewood when we hit St. Louis.
And I've been to Texas before, a number of spots in Texas, but I've never been to Dallas. So I'm looking forward to. I really love Texas a lot, so I'm interested to see what life is like in the Big D.
All right, I'm going to give you 3 cities I'm excited to go to because I haven't been to them. One is Green Bay, so I've never been to Green Bay. I'm really excited. We're going to the Stadium View Bar and Grill in Green Bay, Wisconsin when we come through the tour stop there. If you want to come with us, let us know.
Great place.
Yeah, have you been?
Yeah, great fans. It's such a blue collar, down to earth, football city. You're going to love it.
New Orleans, obviously, we don't even have to go into that. But here's another one I'm going to throw at you. I'm excited to go to Philly because, you've got kind of angry Boston fan. You've got angry Philly fan. But, I kind of want to soak it up myself. I've been through Philadelphia, but I've never spent any time there. So I'm really excited. Looks like we're going to be going to Chicky and Pete. So I'm going to get my crab fries on when we come through Philadelphia. So those are some of the cities I'm excited. And, of course, Boston. Got to love Boston.
Yes.
We're going to drag out some of the guys from DraftKings when we go to Boston because that's where they're based. Of course, you can play at DraftKings with us every day. It's always posted in the post at razzballradio.com. We'll be right back with more Guru. We're going to be talking these prospects that might get opportunity with the trades going down here, Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. Back with some more fantasy baseball news here, Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network with the Guru. We are going to talk now some prospects that may have opportunities in the second half of the season. Don't know that they'll be fantasy relevant, but guys to maybe scout for 2015. Let's start with a guy who I was very disappointed to see go when the Blue Jays traded him, Noah Syndergaard of the New York Mets. Are we going to see him this year?
We very well could see him this year. Like I said, I love this time of year in the baseball season when the trade winds are blowing heavy. And I'm a big fan of playing in dynasty leagues. And I'm in about 3 dynasty leagues this season. And I've got a team that's pretty much out of it. So I'm making moves and I'm trading off, some veteran talent and looking to pick up some prospects. And Noah Syndergaard, he's a guy I'm definitely looking at. And they could see him this year as the rumors start to swirl that Bartolo Colon could get moved.
Yeah, and Bartolo's been useful, so I could see a
Yeah,
contender wanting him, maybe as a fourth, fifth starter. As much as I'd love to make fun of him, he's been pretty good this year.
absolutely. He's been consistent. Now, Syndergaard, he hasn't been very impressive in the minors. The ERA is about 5.75 this year, and there's some questions about his attitude down there in the minors. I think he wants to be in the majors now. He doesn't want to hang
Right.
out there, hang out there in AAA. Uh, I don't know if he'll have much of an impact this year, but I think next year and definitely the year after, it's a guy that I might flip a veteran bat and pick Syndergaard up.
Yeah, absolutely. He is huge. He's a big Texan, big arm. The question with him was, could he develop secondary pitches? But yeah, absolutely a guy to target. Just because we're talking Mets, and we're going to get right back to prospects, but Matt Harvey, there's been no talk about him, obviously, with the year off with Tommy John. Where do you think Matt Harvey's going to go next year?
Where is he going to go in the draft?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I had a conversation with someone about this the other day. We were talking about Fernandez and Harvey and where they would end up. And I said that I would definitely take Fernandez ahead of Harvey next year.
Harvey's closer to being back, though.
That's right, and that was his argument. Harvey, jeez,
Putting you on the spot here.
there's gonna be someone that flips out and takes him early at like the end of the second.
Where
I
should he go?
I wouldn't touch him until
Top 25 starting pitcher?
yeah, I'd put him in the top 25, the low, probably the middle to low end of that. When a guy's coming off Tommy John, I need to see it first, no matter what his name is.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Okay, Jock Peterson, in the Dodgers system, big power bat. Now, I don't know that we're likely to see him this year, only because Dodgers are in contention. So it would take, I think, an injury to open up an opportunity for him. But talk to me about his future prospects.
I am huge on Jock Peterson. This is a guy, I was really excited when Gregory Polanco got the call.
Yes, you were.
Up with the Pirates. I'm just as excited about old Jock, and with the trade rumors floating around, and the Dodgers possibly making a run at Cole Hamels, David Price. Another interesting rumor I heard was the Dodgers going after Adrian Beltre. Now that would be an interesting trade, and Peterson be that would have to be dealt. He's not going to break into that Dodgers outfield anytime soon unless LA is willing to eat all the money from Matt Kemp or Carl Crawford. That's what it's going to take to move either one of those guys. So Peterson is completely blocked, and he's major league ready. I mean, he needs to be in the majors now. There's nothing left to prove in Albuquerque. I mean, the guy's hitting 324 with 19 hits, 48 RBI, 24 steals in 85 games.
The real question is there anything in Albuquerque, period? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Is that on our tour? Can we stop by and see the biggest ball of yarn?
I want to see the car wash from Breaking Bad. Okay. Stephen Piscotty. Break it down for me.
Yeah, the Cardinals, they're rumored to be looking for another arm. Bartolo Colon is a guy that's rumored to be, on their radar. A.J. Burnett, he's being floated out there. Jake Peavy, the Red Sox have floated his name out there. One of those guys, I think, could find their way to St. Louis. And if that happens, teams are going to want one of two guys. Piscotty is one of them. Oscar Taveras is the other.
They're not moving Taveras.
I don't think they will either. So Piscotty would probably be the guy that goes, and he's completely blocked in St. Louis. I mean, they've got plenty of outfielders.
Right.
And the kid's hitting 300 with 6 homers, 9 steals, and a triple at AAA Memphis. If the Cards are going to make a run at David Price, it's going to take more than Piscotty, and that might be Taveras. So that'll be interesting to see here over the next week. If the Cardinals really want David Price, are they willing to give up Taveras?
Oh, man. I don't know that I could trade Taveras for a year and a half of David Price, because also, too, St. Louis is very smart. They're very good at managing their salaries. I don't think they'd sign Price. I mean, if they brought him in, oh, man, that'd be tough. That's one of those deals. And just to shift real quick to NBA, but there's talk, with LeBron James going to Cleveland, that they might move Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love. That's insane to me. You're getting a guy who, yeah, he's ready now in Kevin Love, but you might be giving up, that trade might come back to burn you, not for a couple years, but for a decade, 15 years.
Yeah, I'm kind of the win now approach. I'd trade Tavares in a minute for David Price and go for it and win a World Series. I would rather win a World Series now than come in first in the division 5 years in a row and lose in the NL championship. Give me that World Series now.
I just can't see them moving Tavares. Tavares is too special a talent. He's one of those guys that we're just not seeing him because the cards are good. He is blocked. Man, he is special. Okay, real quick, we got to wrap this up. But who would you rather have long term, Polanco or Tavares?
Wow, great question, man. Jock Peterson.
No, I know you don't mean that. Take that back.
Man, that's really close. I really like both of those players, and you know how much I like.
Give me an answer. We got to get out of here.
Polanco, and I'm a Pirate. Tavares.
Yeah, me too. You can't trade Tavares even for David Price. All right, Guru, thanks for joining us today. Razzball Radio here on the Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday with Rudy. That's right. We haven't seen him in a while. There was some baby Gambles born, a couple of twins. So can you say a couple of twins? Anyway, so Rudy's going to be joining us tomorrow. Really excited to do that. So have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network.